The movie starts by introducing a young man named Michael Hoza, who works happily as a farmer and rancher in a countryside area. Besides his farming duties, Michael regularly attends church to pray and fulfill his religious duties as a young person of faith. One morning, feeling ready for marriage, Michael prayed to God to bring him a suitable girl. He hopes to find a girl who shares his strong faith, though he believes that someday God will provide the best partner for him. Michael looks forward to receiving a sign from God when he meets his soulmate. A few days later, Michael went to town to sell his farm produce to the merchants. While trading, he suddenly became quiet and captivated by a very beautiful young woman walking by. He felt a special connection upon seeing her, as if he had fallen in love. Curious, Michael asked one of his friends about the young woman and if they knew her. His friend informed him that she was a prostitute known as Angel, working in a brothel. Michael found this hard to believe, as he had hoped God would lead him to a woman who shared his faith. Nevertheless, he trusts in God's plans and resolves to follow his heart. Later, he inquired from his friend how he could meet Angel in person. His friend explained that Angel was a high-class prostitute due to her exceptional beauty, and spending a night with her required paying a significant amount of money. The scene shifts to Angel's childhood. She was born to a regular woman who had a secret relationship with a nobleman. Right from the start, Angel's biological father didn't approve of her being born. So he harbored strong dislike towards Angel and was very disappointed with her mother's decision. Angel understood that her father didn't want her around and felt like a burden to her mother. She saw how her presence caused her father to scold and harm her mother. Angel even thought that maybe if she weren't there, her father would treat her mother better. Thankfully, Angel's mother always comforted her and stood by her side, showing immense love and enduring all hardships for her daughter's sake. Some time later, Angel and her mother were forced out of her father's home, so they had to find a new place to live. Despite her efforts to sell her jewelry and find a job, Angel's mother couldn't succeed. Not wanting her child to suffer or get sick, she had no choice but to sell herself to earn money for their needs. After weeks of relentless work as a prostitute, Angel's mother fell seriously ill, coughing constantly and running a high fever. Seeing her mother's condition, Angel cared for her tirelessly until her mother passed away. With her mother gone, Angel felt deeply saddened as she had no other family besides her. After that, Angel was brought by a man to a luxurious brothel to sell at a very high price. Angel lives and is cared for in a brothel until she grows into a beautiful teenager. Since Angel was a teenager, she began to be traded and auctioned off to become a high-class prostitute. One day, Angel accidentally met her father, who was visiting the brothel where she lived. The brothel pimp then asked Angel to serve her own father without knowing that they were related by blood. Angel's father did not know that the girl in front of him was his daughter because they had not seen each other for years. After spending the whole night sleeping with her father, Angel said she was her biological daughter who had been kicked out of the house. Hearing that, Angel's father seemed devastated because he had ruined his own daughter's life and made his daughter live in misery. Because of this enormous guilt, Angel's father decided to end his own life with a gunshot to his own head. After that situation, Angel chose to leave the brothel to avoid being caught by the authorities and blamed for her father's death, who was a nobleman. She moved to another city to hide and start afresh. Sadly, Angel found herself back in the cycle of prostitution because she had no job or money. She settled in a new brothel and continued her life as a prostitute up to the present day. The story brings us back to the present, where Michael visits Angel's place and pays her her time. Upon entering Angel's room, Michael finds her ready to serve him. After a brief moment, Michael explains that he hired Angel's time just to talk and keep him company. Surprised by his request, Angel wonders why he's different from other customers. Thinking Michael might be hesitant because he's married, Angel assures him she won't share any secrets. However, Michael quickly reveals that he's single and confesses his love for Angel since their first meeting. Shortly after, Angel asks Michael to leave as their time together has ended. A few days later, Michael returns to the brothel to spend time with Angel again. He tries to convince her that he can help her if she agrees to marry him. Hearing this, Angel feels annoyed and finds it hard to believe Michael's words because all the men she's encountered so far have been disrespectful and only interested in her body. She thinks Michael is no different from them, wanting to use her for his own pleasure. However, Michael persists and continues to persuade Angel to leave the brothel. The following day, Michael confides in his male friend about his feelings for a young woman in the brothel who is hesitant to accept his love. Upon hearing this, Michael's friend criticizes him, thinking his actions are foolish. He believes Michael could use his resources for more meaningful endeavors. Michael's friend thinks a good man like him deserves a better partner. With Michael's attractive appearance and kind nature, many other women would be eager to be with him. However, Michael remains steadfast in his decision, preferring to follow his heart. He believes that Angel is his soulmate, a gift from God. A few months after saving up enough money, Michael returns to the brothel to see Angel. Upon arriving, he confesses his love for her and expresses his desire for her to marry him. He is determined to rescue her from the brothel at any cost. Michael promises to provide for all her needs so she won't have to sell herself anymore. Angel, instead of responding seriously, teases Michael about wanting to sleep with her. However, Michael refuses to sleep with her before marriage out of respect for her. Angel, tired of Michael's words, finally tells him that a simple farmer like him could never win her heart. Hearing this, Michael begins to understand and respect Angel's decision. A few days later, Angel gets into a heated argument with her pimp because she's had enough and wants to quit being a prostitute. Enraged by Angel's defiance, the pimp orders a man to beat her as punishment. That night, Michael senses that Angel is in danger. The next day, he rushes to the brothel to check on her. Finding Angel bruised and weak in her room, Michael feels heartbroken. He pays the pimp to release Angel from the brothel and then kneels beside her, proposing marriage. On that day, Michael rescues Angel from the brothel and brings her to his home to live with him. Upon their arrival, Michael tends to Angel's wounds and treats her with kindness. Angel is surprised by Michael's caring nature and his choice to be with her instead of other women. Michael expresses his deep love for Angel and his desire to spend the rest of his life with her. Despite his words, Angel struggles to believe that she deserves such love from a good man like him. She questions why he would fall in love with a former prostitute like her. Michael responds by saying he loves Angel unconditionally and sees no reason to stop loving her. A few days later, Angel begins to recover and resumes normal activities. She helps Michael with farming and tending to the animals. They also spend time together cooking and fishing, strengthening their bond. One early morning, Michael takes Angel to a hill to watch the sunrise together. After witnessing the beautiful sight, Angel feels happy, and Michael embraces her. However, she expresses doubt about deserving a beautiful life with Michael due to her past sins. Michael reassures her that he doesn't expect perfection and believes love is about understanding, acceptance, and willingness to sacrifice. A few days later, Michael's brother-in-law, Paul, visits Michael's house. Paul is married to Michael's younger sister, who passed away a year ago. Upon Paul's arrival, Michael welcomes him into the house and introduces Angel as his wife. When Paul sees Angel, he is surprised because he remembers her from the brothel and knows she was a prostitute. During a private conversation with Angel, Paul repeatedly insults her, saying she isn't worthy of being with Michael. His words make Angel doubt herself once again. The following day, Angel confides in Michael, expressing her belief that she may not be deserving of him because of her past as a prostitute. However, Michael reassures her, saying that everyone deserves a second chance and forgiveness for their mistakes. The following day, Angel asks Paul to take her back to town. She still can't accept herself as Michael's wife and believes he deserves someone better. When Paul returns from town the next day, Michael inquires about Angel's whereabouts. Paul informs him that Angel has returned to the city. Upon hearing this, Michael rushes to town to find Angel. He is prepared to confront anyone to bring her back home. On their way, Michael and Angel encounter a family whose carriage is broken down. Michael offers them shelter at his house until their carriage is fixed. Among the family is a girl named Miriam, the same age as Michael. Angel tries to set up Michael with Miriam, believing they would make a good match. She thinks Miriam is kind and religious like Michael, making them suitable for each other. A few days later, Angel decides to return to the city and leaves a message for Miriam, urging her to marry Michael. Despite being in love with Michael herself, Angel is willing to let him go for his happiness. When Miriam receives the message, she returns the ring Angel left with her and encourages Michael to pursue Angel. However, Michael chooses to respect Angel's decision and allows her to go if that's what she truly wants. Despite time passing, Michael still can't forget about Angel and lives his days without much joy. Several months later, Paul comes across Angel at a children's school in the city. He approaches her and apologizes for his previous judgmental behavior, realizing he had been wrong about her. Paul pleads with Angel to return to Michael. Angel, surprised by this, insists that Michael deserves to be with Miriam. However, Paul reveals that Miriam is now married to him, not Michael. He explains that Michael still deeply loves Angel and hasn't been able to move on from her. This revelation shocks Angel, as she didn't expect Michael to harbor such strong love and loyalty towards her. In the end, Angel, who still deeply loves Michael, chooses to go back to him. She apologizes to Michael and confesses her continued love for him. Now, Angel and Michael have reconciled and are beginning to live happily together again. So the moral of the story is, don't judge a book by its cover, especially if that book happens to be in a brothel.